Welcome back to this environmental series on CNC3. My guests are Senator Penelope Beckles, former Minister of Environment, and Dr. Jyot Singh, the MD CEO of Environmental Management Authority. Let me ask you your opinion, Senator Beckles. Do you think that the EMA was made toothless under the previous regime? Did you pull out all the teeth of the EMA?
No, I think that actually there was some enhancement. I recall the setting up of a unit. You're talking about these CECs, and obviously when that certificate of environmental clearance application came in, I don't think we thought about the whole issue of the resources, the kind of personnel that the EMA will need, because clearly when you have things like smelters and big industries, I mean, they come with their lawyers, they come with their persons who are skilled in the areas of the environment, and we needed to beef them up. So there was a unit, a special unit that was set up. They were the ones who designed exactly what type of personnel they needed, and I don't know, maybe Dr. Singh could probably say how it has been working, and I would imagine that from time to time they would revisit. They were asked to do the human resource plan, look years down and decide what you would like it to look like, anticipating Trinidad and Tobago, and they came up with that. I took it to Cabinet and they approved the setting up of the unit.
Senator Beckles has a very high opinion of the EMA. The Ministry of Local Government is supposed to be implementing a comprehensive plan to handle household waste, the National Integrated Waste Management Plan, I believe it is. Is the EMA involved in that, Dr. Singh?
We have been involved from the perspective of sitting on the committee which has been put into place to formulate the approach and consultation, principally in terms of external support from the government of Nova Scotia. I think it makes entire sense to have it decentralized, because certainly, we are generating a tremendous amount of domestic waste within the various municipalities existing within Trinidad and Tobago. So decentralizing it makes a lot of sense. I think what we have tried to do in terms of a centralized response certainly has not worked, and I think it's exemplified by all the imagery that you've been showing. So I think it makes very good sense to address the issue of solid waste management from that perspective. And I think government is moving along to that point. I think the critical issue is to ensure that the regional corporations are supported in that regard, because very often they have been asked to do things where they don't have the resources to do it.
Okay.
And I understand as well, and hearing from the new administration, that the intent is to give new support, additional support, to ensure that they have what they need to deliver on this decentralized means of dealing with waste management. Okay. So it has the EMA support, and we have been providing technical assistance to so far.
Senator Beckles, what advice would you give the present government regarding recycling? We do dump 50 million plastic bottles in our dump every month. There has been a draft of a bill that deals with a beverage container since 2000. It's been gathering dust.
Okay, well, that bill was updated, I think, in 2006. I left in 2007. As I said, I know the EMA did consultations with companies, with NGOs, so that I'm hoping that they wouldn't do another round of consultation, because I believe that the society is just going to be frustrated.
But what is there to consult on anymore? We've seen the mess. Yeah. We know we need recycling. Why can't we just get on with it?
Well, it's also in keeping with the environmental policy, the polluter pay principle. So I think it's a question of the government looking at it, see they're comfortable with it, bring it to Parliament, and I think everything is in place. I know the EMA had worked it right down to the letter to make sure that everything was in place, and I'm really quite satisfied they did a good job. So it's really for Dr. Munilal to decide to go through it, probably have a quick look at it, because obviously he'll have to be comfortable. He will have to make the presentation of the bill, and I think once that happens, we can move
very
forward.
Often, we anticipate changes when we change administration in terms of an entire change of government. But we have witnessed in Trinidad and Tobago a change even when the administration stays in place, but the leadership at a ministerial level is shuffled. And certainly, when Senator Beckles was in the office as minister, we saw the environmental agenda move forward very rapidly. And indeed, a lot of focus was placed. So, I've been in discussions with Minister Munilal. I think he's of a similar vein in terms of the environment being really high on the agenda. And I think many of the issues which were shelved during a certain period of time when this reshuffle which took place, I think, are resurfacing again, and I think there is a conviction that this is the way to go. The issue, for example, the beverage containers bill, which we are hoping at the EMA would be retabled and passed in Parliament, because I think it's an excellent mechanism to deal with the issue of plastic bottles in the environment. And a lot of the imagery that you show is 80% plastic. So that to move to that legislation, to have an incentive program in place, because I think inherent in the beverage containers bill is an incentive mechanism,
Yes.
where it's a refund deposit scheme, so that plastic bottles can be returned and you get some money for it, and in addition to there being a fund. And the EMA had suggested the Environmental Trust Fund to facilitate cleanup. So when the bottles are not collected, there is a mechanism for cleaning up. So I think a lot of these are resurfacing, I think being reinforced to a very large extent. I think the issue of green business has been high on the agenda. And I think the link between the environment and the economics aspect of it is a critical issue as well going forward. And I expect we'll see some successes coming from that. The business community needs to be involved.
If I could just say quickly that is a $1 billion industry. I mean, what you showed us there in the BITHAM, that's a $1 billion industry. If you look at today's Newsday, you would see an excellent article. Anne Hilton has visited a recycling plant, recycling plastics, exporting. Trevor Williams doing a really good job in Champlain. I would suggest that you would visit that so that it can continue in terms of showing that it's possible, it's actually happening in Trinidad and Tobago.
Absolutely. But for now, we need to take a short break. We'll be right back with more on this environmental series on CNC3.